Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking a seriously fascinating chapter on working with materials. We're going to dive straight into the hands-on, vibrant world of textile creation. We'll be exploring how simple fabrics and dyes can be transformed into absolute masterpieces using nothing but human ingenuity and a few tightly wound threads. So if you've ever wondered how those incredibly intricate patterns actually get onto cloth, you are definitely in for a treat today. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the art of resist dyeing, look into its history and cultural roots, and then jump right into the practical stuff, prepping your materials, tying techniques explained, preparing natural dyes, and finally, creating your final product.
All right, section 1, the art of resist dyeing, understanding the magic.
So, picture this. You're in a super active sensory classroom. People are teaming up, wearing safety glasses and aprons, just totally getting their hands dirty with pots of dye, salt, and raw fabrics. It's hands-on creation at its absolute best. This is exactly the kind of dynamic space where the real magic of textile art happens. Now, you might be wondering what's actually happening here. Well, the secret is understanding the core science. The resist dye technique is exactly what it sounds like. It's a method where you actively block or resist the dye from coloring certain parts of the fabric. By doing this, those protected spots keep the original color of the cloth, while the rest just soaks up all that new dye. It's a simple concept, really, but this idea of resisting color, it is the foundation for literally all the incredible art we're looking at today.
Moving on to section 2, history and cultural roots, ancient art forms.
The historical journey here is absolutely wild. Get this. The earliest evidence of tie and dye, specifically the Bandhani method, dates all the way back to the 2nd century BCE. I mean, there are literally paintings in the ancient Ajanta caves in Maharashtra showing a woman wearing a dotted cloth that experts believe is Bandhani. Over the centuries, as communities migrated, they took these skills with them, weaving them into new local cultures. Fast forward to today, and this art form is worn with so much pride, flourishing spectacularly in states like Rajasthan and Gujarat. Now, India obviously has a massive history with textiles, and there are actually a few different ways you can resist dye. Take Bandhani, for instance. The word itself literally means to bind or tie, and it relies entirely on the physical folding, twisting, and binding of fabric to block out the color. On the flip side, you have another famous method called batik. This one uses a physical barrier, like wax or a starchy paste, applied either freehand or with carved blocks to resist the dye. Both are absolutely gorgeous, but for this explainer, we're really zoning in on those hands-on physical tying techniques.
Which brings us to section 3, prepping your materials, setting up for success.
Okay, so you want to try this yourself. First up, you need the right canvas to handle all that intense twisting and boiling. You've got to stick to natural fibers. Think cotton, silk, or wool. Synthetics, they just won't hold the color the same way. For a practice run, grab a small 6x6-inch sample. An old white shirt works perfectly for this. Just make absolutely sure it's washed completely, free of dirt or starch. You know, unless you want that old coffee stain to become a permanent part of your masterpiece.
All right, section 4, tying techniques explained, crafting the pattern.
Let's break down the traditional Bandhani tying process. It's elegantly simple, but trust me, it requires some patience. Step 1, you draw your design right on the fabric using tiny little circles or dots. Step 2, pinch the fabric exactly at that drawn circle, pulling it up into a tiny little peak. And step 3, wrap a thread super tightly around that pinched fabric. Here's the coolest part though. Because this is all done entirely by hand and literally no two people pinch and tie fabric the exact same way, no two pieces are ever alike. Every single pattern is totally unique to the person who made it. But hey, Bandhani isn't the only game in town. Take Lahariya, for example. The word leher literally translates to wave. By folding and tying the fabric in this specific diagonal way before you dye it, you end up with this incredible, flowing, wave-like pattern. It's deeply symbolic in places like Rajasthan and Gujarat, representing the precious flow of water and the blossoming of greenery in what are pretty arid landscapes. Let's look at the colors. Section 5, preparing natural dyes, nature's color palette. You really don't need harsh chemicals to create vibrant colors. Natural dyes are incredibly environmentally friendly, and the best part, you can probably find the ingredients for them sitting right in your kitchen or growing out back in a garden. Seriously? It's like magic. If you want a brilliant yellow, just boil some turmeric or maybe some marigold flowers. Looking for pink? Raid the fridge for some beetroot. You can extract this gorgeous green from spinach leaves. and a deep blue from blueberries or blue pea flowers. It basically turns your kitchen into a colorful, natural chemistry lab. It is so incredibly fun to just experiment and see what crazy combinations you can brew up. Finally, Section 6, creating your final product, from sample to masterpiece. Okay, here is your ultimate execution plan. Step 1, pick and measure your final fabric, maybe an old dupatta, a pillow cover, or a scarf. Step 2, tie your chosen design using those techniques we just talked about. Step 3, dip it right into your prepared dye. Now, quick safety check here. You absolutely must do this in a well-ventilated area. Hot dye puts off vapors, and you definitely don't want those irritating your lungs. And finally, step 4, wash, dry, and iron your fabric. And honestly, this brings us to the absolute most satisfying part of the entire process. Once the dyeing is done, you carefully wash the fabric, let it air dry, and then iron it out. It's during this ironing phase that the fabric flattens out, the tied threads come off, and that vibrant, completely unique pattern hidden underneath is finally revealed. It's a literal aha moment of discovery every single time. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to chew on. Textiles are so much more than just cloth, right? They're quite literally woven with history and memory. So as you think about trying these tie and dye techniques yourself, ask yourself this. What stories or special memories about traditional clothing exist within your own family or community? Exploring these crafts is just such a wonderful way to connect, not just with the materials, but with our shared cultural heritage. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I really hope you feel inspired to go out and create something beautiful today.